that he tends to put down. I'm sure a couple of guys out there enjoy it as well. But we are going into the picks and bans. It is going to be Kha'Zix taken away, as you mentioned, from Alex Ich, Nasus and Elise. Very quick bans coming in here. Twisted Fate and Jarvan also taken away. They didn't want Froggen to have that Twisted Fate. Nautilus, the final ban, taken away from Snoopy. Interesting.
So I imagine Snoopy would be thinking about playing the likes of Volibear because of the fact that that is available. What we do see is Zed is here. So Zed slips through the bans. Those were really, really rapid fire bans from these two teams. And Evil Genius is prioritizing Thresh, taking that away from Edward, giving that to Crepo, of course. And they've decided that Zed is not a priority. And this is interesting. Gambit, if they lock this in, they're not taking it first either.
Well, we'll see how it works out. We do, of course, Edward on Sona used to be the ultimate champion. Will never take Arcade Sona, by the way, because they believe it is actually a curse. So they will never take Arcade Sona. That's an actual
because it says game
fact
over
there coming out, because indeed it says game over.
To be fair, Edward's Muse Sona, I mentioned this all the way back at the beginning of the season. There was that Photoshop, the Muse Sona of Edward. Both haunts and terrifies me to this day. He's played Sona 6 times this season. He's got 5 wins with her and a mere 8.8 KDA.
Yeah, it's just nothing really.
No worries.
It does all right. But I'm interested to see that Nautilus ban. That's definitely a strange one for me. So they've left a number of things open. Twisted Fate, of course, the main one taken away, but it does mean that there's a lot of champions.
Zed.
There's Lux, there's Zed, there's Anivia. There's a number of champions open for Froggen.
Kale for Alex as well, another one that needs to be, talked about. I think the reason that both Jarvan and Nautilus have been banned out, and this is something Gambit have been fairly vocal about, is that they feel Snoopy has a fairly limited champion pool, and he struggles to make an impact in a matchup with a variety of champions. So taking away Nautilus, who he's probably been playing a lot of in solo queue, means he's got to fall back to another champion. And Volibear has had some nerfs but in this particular patch. So we've seen Snoopy running it last weekend against Fnatic, where it worked very well, but he was unable to replicate that yesterday when they played against All Authority.
So there are the lock-ins. As you predicted, Volibear and Zed do come out. So Gambit now, how will they react? They had some very different champions, I think it's safe to say, earlier on today. They a couple of different options. And Mumu came out. We weren't expecting that one from Diamond. Don't know whether he's going to go that way again. It would certainly add a massive layer of area effect. Could it be Evelynn? Evelynn's a champion we locked straight in. So Evelynn's a champion we've seen Alex Ich on before, of course, thinking back to Season 2 World Finals. In the semi-final, he played it against Taipei Assassins to great success, and then had it banned against him in the last 2 games.
And you've got a great combination there that you can get from Agony's Embrace, Eve's Ultimate, then you follow that up with the Crescendo, you get the bullet time over it. I'm not 100% convinced that's going to be in the mid, because it would mean they've left their jungler for last. It might be a jungler. I'm going out on a limb here. I know Alex has played it a lot, but it's interesting to leave your jungler for the last pick when Eve's not a priority pick right now. So it's a possibility.
I'd be excited for Diamond Procs running
it would be awesome.
I think I might lose my mind.
It would be awesome. The fact that Jason's there as well. Jason, another champion that we've seen in both the mid and the top lane. Earlier today, we even seen in the AD carry role. Obviously, it's not going to be AD carry for Gambit, because they do have Misfortune there for Genja, who he's played 10 times this season and has 10 victories with. And I was going to point out that in terms of your ADs, Varus was still available, so it's probably one of the picks they may consider.
There is Anivia being highlighted on and locked in. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see Froggen on Anivia. And let's see how this one works out for him. Of course, it's going to be Varus and Thresh in that bottom lane, which means the jungler will be Volibear and the top lane Wicked on Zed once again. How are Gambit going to react to this?
So, this is the question.
That's Edward trolling.
It's a very good... No, it's locked in.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to try channel my
Darian trying to do a Soaz while Soaz is sat here in the studio.
With Nunu, that's going to be in the jungle, I imagine, for the rest of Gambit. They've got great AoE from 4 of the members. You've got great poker can come down from Jace. Interesting stats about Anivia. Played 7 times this split, banned 16 times. So a lot of games against Froggen in the early opening weeks. They said, no, we don't want you to have it. But he's only got 3 wins of those 7 games. So not a great win-loss record, especially when you consider who is wielding the Cryo Phoenix.
Well, we'll see how Diamond does with that. Nunu in the jungle, of course, used to be the old-fashioned champion of choice, really. Frankly, he was always banned out.
So I imagine this is going to be a you shall not pass moment when Volibear starts running into an engagement. He's going to eat a snowball in the face. Yep. Then he's going to be slowed down. Then there's going to be absolute zero. And Snoopy's going to be like, come on, guys, I just want to play. I just want to, get to the honeypot. And it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Extreme close-up on the chest, I think it's safe to say, of Darian. As he's looking cool, calm, and collected, taking Jace for this game. We'll see how it works out for him. And there is the all-star Yellow Pete, the AD carry for Evil Geniuses, the only member of Evil Geniuses to actually get into the all-star team. Of course, Wicked there, he just had that 1v1 with Soaz, and Soaz managed to take him down 3-2 with the Nunu. We'll see how it works out in this one, and whether Snoopy there on the right of your screen ever gets to shave that beard.
Okay, so loading screen is up. I have lost it. Diamond Prox is playing Eve in the jungle, and Alex is running mid lane Nunu. It is mid lane Nunu. We spoke to Alex yesterday, and he was talking about this morning.
It was this morning.
My God! And he was saying how there is not much damage in the mid lane, but you can survive forever. This is awesome.
This is. There's a song, I believe, that uses them words, but there's a little word in between, and that's what I'm going to go with. I believe it's Flow Rider. I may be wrong. It is, yes. Joe nods. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not down with the cool kids these days. I'm all about the heavy metal. Putting it on, like. But there we are going in towards this game. So, Evelyn jungle, Nunu mid lane versus Anivia. It's all about the snow mid lane.
So this is it. It's Freljord all over the place, and that's what matters in this particular game. I'm thinking back to the last time an Anivia was defeated by an innovative champion, and it was Ocelot playing Anivia against Fnatic all those weeks ago, and Expecto was running Caitlyn, and he just dominated Anivia in the mid lane. The champion was a super counter pick. I'd like to see how Alex is going to react with Nunu, because it's a similar possibility. Diamond being invisible, he cannot be seen, and he's playing a human ward right now. Look at the positioning from Gambit. They may think about a fight here.
They saw him going in there, I'm pretty sure of it, but Diamond's just sticking a little bit further back. We'll see the ward go down. The rest of the team not going to go for this one, so they don't want to go for that level 1 fight. Of course, the Volibear would be a scary prospect. They could have a good stun come out from Froggen, so they didn't want to get involved in a level 1 fight.
So well played by Diamond to at least give some vision. You could hear the discussions. You could see the talking from Gambit, thinking, well, do we go? Do we not go? What do we want to do? Interestingly, in terms of positioning on the map right now, it looks like it's going to be a Misfortune in the mid and a Jace Sona bottom lane. So they're even doing some lane shenanigans to get the absolute utmost out of their unique composition.
So we are about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 5th game of the day. Evil Geniuses as the blue team, Gambit as the red team. If you are watching or not watching, and you have friends that aren't watching, then what the hell are you doing? Tell your mother, tell your brother, tell your estranged ex-wife, get them on there, because Diamond Prox is running Evelyn in the jungle.
Lee, I don't talk to her anymore, but in terms of this composition, the Gambit team, you will never be able to catch them. Every single one of those members has some form of speed up. If you think of the acceleration gate from Jace, if you look at Eve and you look at her Dark Frenzy that can stack with resets, Blood Boil from Nunu, Strut from Misfortune, and the Song of Celerity from Sona, that is an extremely mobile, fast-moving, hit-and-run guerrilla tactic team.
It would be awesome if it was the Olympics, but unfortunately it's not. It's all about the kills. But it will help them out if they do need to chase down a flapping bird, for example, in that mid lane, in the form of Froggen, who is actually in a 2v1 situation. Now, I recall Froggen saying, if you were up against Caitlyn 1v1 in that mid lane, what would you do? I'd uninstall the game.
That was his, I think he used some harsher words, but yes, it's a good point. Snoopy about to find Diamond Prox. I don't think Snoopy actually seen Diamond there, so he's sneaking around the side. You'll see Diamond moving in. He will be spotted now and going to take a couple of hate spikes. As Diamond just backs away. He's delaying Snoopy's jungle, but look at the positioning from Crepo. He's coming into play.
Yeah, it's going to be Edward coming around as well, so it's going to be both supports. Will the hooks come through? We see that the ward does get put down. The pink ward spotted out. Crepo immediately turns around, lashes in, hooks on towards him. They do try and put the damage down towards Diamond Prox, and they may well be able to get first blood. Flashes away from it, and Crepo flashes, showing the Thresh Prince how to do it. Taking down Diamond Prox in the jungle for first blood.
Very well played by Evil Geniuses. Crepo moving up at exactly the right time. Crucially about that kill, not only was it first blood, but he's taken away the red buff. Edward is still sneaking around the side. He couldn't get in range to steal it, but now you have Crepo with the kill and red buff going back to lane. He's going to be very, very difficult to deal with for Darian's Jace.
We'll see what he does here, because Darian is going to have problems with that. Crepo is going to go aggressive. I know for a fact he wants to answer to some of those fans that have been doubting him on the Reddits of the world, and he's not been too happy with some of the comments that have come out, so he's going to be having something to prove here, I feel, on Thresh.
So we'll see how it plays out. He's got a good start so far. The map awareness, the fact that he recalled, is working to his favor. Up in the top lane, the 1 versus 2 for Evil Genius is Wicked. Currently 16 CS, and he's handling the pressure relatively well, but you know, he's dealing with Alex at the moment, and Alex may get caught out. It's a Yeti versus a bear. It doesn't look like Snoopy's going to get in range.
Yeah, and it's quite clever play because you talked about the fact that he's going to get flipped. Actually, he may well get taken down here. The damage is going strongly. He's going to flash away from this one. The Ignite does go down, but I think the health pot should just save him one last tick. Oh, he gets away with it.
That was very, very close, but Alex did manage to get away to safety. One of the things that he said was difficult to deal with if you were running that sort of champion is constant ganks and constant pressure. He needs to have some time to build up levels and build up some items. So we'll see if Snoopy continues to apply pressure to this top lane and try to keep Alex on the back foot.
Oh, I'm interested. You know, the fact that it's Wicked, he's just thinking, for God's sake, not again.
Yeah, I've had enough of this nonsense. Can I please fight a top lane champion? That's probably what's running through his head at the moment. But if any team is going to pull out some innovative strategies, it will be Gambit, because like we said, they're guaranteed top 2. They're guaranteed. They're allowed to have a little bit of fun with these matches because nothing can happen to their playoff seeding.
And the interesting thing is that we saw Fnatic having fun, we're seeing Gambit having fun. It kind of backfired on the American scene, and suddenly we're seeing all these you know, statements having to come out from the likes of Curse, who were dominating throughout the whole season, then just had a really bad Super Week because they were having a little bit of fun.
Yeah, they realized their playoff dreams are a little different, or, you know, that their position was secured, so they swapped out for the very last game of the weekend and ran, I think, AP Tristan in the mid and Fizz in the jungle, so a little bit different. And you know what? If not, why not? If you never try these compositions, you never discover if something is slightly better or slightly new, you know? Well, and it can play into your favor.
You know, if I was to look at another sport, for that sort of situation, you look at football, and there's a massive fair play rule that they have to use a starting steady lineup, which doesn't really stand in League of Legends because every champion is balanced and viable in this game.
Correct. Now, Crepo, he's got the Lantern out, and you see Snoopy trying to set up a gank, but Darian was well aware of that one. And, of course, with the movement speed reduction in this patch, Snoopy's Rolling Thunder is less effective.
Yeah, that's never going to catch him out there. And Darian actually, for once, I might add, playing very cautious in that solo lane.
It may have to do with his range. He's realized he can sit back and just farm away with that Shock Blast Acceleration Gate combo and rely on that, what's it, the hammer stance and the range stance? Crossbow? What's it, Mercurial?
Well, you would know, not
no,
me.
You see, I just remember, because I know it's the Mercurial Hammer and the Mercurial Cannon is the word I was looking for.
To be fair, he has got about 7 different skills to choose from. So
correct.
It's only fair that you can't quite catch it out. They're trying to catch on towards Edward, but we do see Diamond lingering around. There was a ward. I didn't see whether he got spotted in that bush or not. I don't think he did. There was no exclamation marks above his head. He wasn't given a quest. And instead, it does mean Wicked. Look at this. This is the start. Now he's starting to get in dangerous territory because that Ice Blast is building up. And it's going to get stronger and stronger, as well as the Consume, which he's doing. And now it's just an immovable object in that lane. You can't push him out.
No, there's absolutely zero that you can do to him during the laning phase. And in terms of his Ice Blast, base numbers are not necessarily the highest. 175 at rank 3, which is currently where it's at. So he's, with his ability power, he's dealing 200 damage per Ice Blast. But it stacks up. That's the key. He can throw it out over and over and over and over, and obviously just say, you know, nice and healthy with that Consume.
And another advantage is the fact that the blue buff is being given across to Diamond because nobody else needs it. So he's quite happy to take it. So that's going to give him a bit of an experience boost in the jungle.
Going to help him speed around as well as clearing with his hate spikes, gets the Dark Frenzies out and just motoring all over the map. What they can do as well as the game, you know, begins to progress, they're going to donate that blue buff over to Darian's Jace, and they're just going to have this siege situation where you're going to have Shock Blast after Shock Blast. When people are low, then all of a sudden you're going to have Diamond Prox going in with his ulti and following it up with the bullet time and the rest. So they've got quite a nice composition for that to work, but we've seen Siege comes in. Edward's caught.
Edward's caught out by Frog, and they're trying to use that ultimate to burst him down, and he is actually still spotted. Finally puts that ping ward down and has a full vision of that ward in the bush, and he just thought, wiser of it, I think I'll return and take that ward out in just a few moments. It's actually going to run out before he gets it.
So quite crucially there for Edward, he's actually open with the Ruby Crystal, so he had that additional HP, which is obviously going to help him out, and the fact that he's got such great sustain with Sona. 2 points into his W, his healing spell, and with the potions drinking, or while he's drinking the potion, he'll just be regenerating all of that lost health.
So the standoff in the mid lane has helped Alex Ich have that solo top lane working out for him. Wicked's thinking, this is just like a bad dream that keeps happening every single night of the week. I don't understand. It feels like he's just all up against it. The fact that he's had to go for double Doran's Blade, no boots, just shows that he's not even intending to go anywhere near Alex Ich.
No, not at all. He doesn't want to get involved, and it's because he can't. He's not going to be able to outrun him. The Blood Boil's there. He's not going to be able to, out DPS him, even though he's energy-based. He doesn't rely on mana. And we do see those Diamond Procs just sneaking up towards this top lane. Ward is about to wear out, and there's actually some pings there coming down from Evil Geniuses. So that was either Snoopy saying, I'm about to come up, or pretty much going, look, something is fishy here. Be careful, because Eve is around.
Eve is definitely around, and it's the terror of the solo queue, it's safe to say, in the lower regions. And Wicked again takes another Ice Blast as Snoopy tippy-toes into that bush, puts a pink ward down and clears out the ward of Alex Ich.
One of the things you have to remember is that, in the bottom lane they've caught Darian.
They do manage to catch on towards it. Chain of Corruption didn't land though, unfortunately. The lash is there though, it should be enough to finish him off, and that will be Evil Geniuses picking up their second kill of the game on Yellow P.
It's not over yet, because Genja takes a bit of damage in that mid lane, manages to sidestep the stun. Darian a little bit overextended. It's not the first or the last time we'll be saying that, I'm sure. In terms of the wards, what you do need to remember now is Evil Geniuses are going to be investing much more money into pink wards or oracles because of Eve on the map. They're grouped up very, very tightly. This is a 5-man Evil Geniuses that's fending off a 3-man Gambit because Alex is not there yet.
I'm not sure if they can sneak in and try and get this one. Instead, they try and get the poke on towards Diamond Procs. You see the death mark going in there.
Bullet time.
Does try and catch on towards him. Bullet time did manage to land across all of Evil Geniuses there, but they don't have the speed to catch on towards him despite all that mobility. You can't chase down the bird.
So Diamond Procs panicked a little bit, and he popped his ultimate only on Froggen. He didn't manage to catch anybody else there in that particular engagement. So I'm not 100% sure that was ideal, but a great crescendo and a great bullet time from both Genja and from Edward allowed them to force members of Evil Geniuses back. But the Dragon was secure. Darian, once again, he's just sitting on his side of the map trying to farm up. You can see Anivia hiding in the grass, and can they get the stun?
They do manage to try and get the combo on towards him. A lot of damage coming out. The stun comes in. Yellow P's going to pick another one up, and he does. And that is Darian being massacred in the bottom lane.
So 3-0. Snoopy's going to flip Diamond back.
He goes straight in towards it. Remember, Crescendo was used in the last fight, and Wicked didn't quite get in there and get the damage down like he'd wished.
No, Deathmark was not available either, so he would have needed that to be able to deal much more damage. Crepo throws out the death sentence, manages to catch a melee minion. Absolutely nothing comes of that one. But at the moment, it's advantage Evil Geniuses. They're playing the combo a little better. Look at the amount of vision that they have with all of those wards. They're going to become pink wards relatively soon because the later the game goes, the more damage Diamond Procs will be dealing.
We'll see whether this gamble is going to work out for them, because Gambit are currently 3-0 down right now, and a 2,000 gold advantage as Evil Geniuses picked up that dragon as well. And you can see across the board, it's actually very even. Certainly the top lane, which is this time Wicked versus Alex Ich, not your normal top lane, of course. Mid lane wise, Froggen, he's definitely got a big advantage building over towards Darian, who's technically classed as the mid laner now. A lot of things changing around though, and we do see the AD carry. That's where the advantage is building. It is actually Yellow Pete with those 2 kills starting to gain a big advantage over Genja.
And of course, his particular champion is going to be used in a slightly different role. Genja, he does tend to build Misfortune as that bullet time caster, and less so the right-click damage, whereas Yellow Pete, he's going to be a bit more reliant on more items because he's going to be relying on auto-attacking. I like what Alex has done in this top lane. He's picked up that Hextech Revolver, which is an incredibly cheeky item to pick up because he's going to be getting the Spell Vamp, and all of those Ice Blasts are going to be healing him for damage. And watch his health in team fights when you see him channeling an Absolute Zero at that pop of HP, depending on how much DPS he deals from that ultimate.
You know, the one part of me wishes this was Dyrus, because I know deep down he'd be using that laugh button quite heavily, but Alex is just not doing that just yet.
Disappointingly, he's not using the robotic Nunu skin either, which would have been the requirement. So I feel that may be the slip-up. He forgot to change the skin, and obviously it's not fun when you're not hearing Nunu going, or however that goes.
Yeah, instead of Blitzcrank, you mean.
Exactly.
You keep doing the Blitzcrank laugh instead.
Exactly. So at the moment, 3-0, 2,000 gold in favor of Evil Geniuses. They're winning out the CS for the most part, thanks to those mid laners. And of course, it is a little bit more even in the top laners, effectively. But at the moment, it's just a matter of survival for Wicked. He's doing the best that he can to CS and try to put himself in a mid lane or a team fight position.
The main thing here is the fact that Gambit, they did switch and they wanted Genja and Edward in his mid lane, but they're pushing against Anivia. And we've seen many, many times versus Gambit, in fact, in the form of Moscow 5 and the form of COGEU. You can't push against the Frog, and they have caught on Edward. He does get away from that one, though. Flash burn.
Yeah, he flashed over the Flay, so the slow didn't come down, and that's the main thing there. But like you said, Flash is burned, so if he gets caught by a hook or a stun, he is in trouble. Diamond Prox is currently level 8. He smells some blood, and he's sniffing around the top lane, but listen to all those pings. You can see everybody's saying, look, we know something's up. You're talking about the lanes pushing, and I feel like Gambit are not doing as much effort in terms of pushing the lanes to get towers. It feels like they want to prolong this laning phase and get their Nunu and their Evelynn and their Jace to some item thresholds before they play for objectives.
So what you're saying is it could be a long game.
I'm pretty sure about that one. This may be a Season 2 epic. Because of the composition from Gambit, I feel like they're going to need some time to power up. And of course, for Evil Geniuses, we know the traditional playstyle. They prefer it to go to late game and try to control it from there.
You see Wicked, he keeps eating those ice blasts every single time. Froggen, meanwhile, he's continuing to clear out that mid wave. He's had Crepo helping him out for a long time, which is actually giving a lot of free farm and experience to Yellow Pete in that bottom lane, because he knows he doesn't really have too much of an issue dealing with Darian right now down that bottom lane.
No, it's a pretty easy lane for him, and it's effectively just like unencumbered farming. So Yellow Pete's going to be very happy about that. He's got the makings of that play to the Ruin King. We do see that Snoopy is moving into him. They're going to go head-to-head, and this is a 2-on-1.
He tries to turn and bait it, but is it going to be enough? Uses that barrier, shields him back in there, and then flashes through, but Snoopy can't try and track him down, and now Diamond's actually chasing behind him. He flips on towards Darian, but he's been left in a 2v1 situation by Yellow Pete. Yellow Pete left him to burn there. Diamond does manage to pick up the kill. He did manage to take down Darian. Can Diamond chase down Yellow Pete?
They trade 1-for-1. Diamond Prox has blue buff and red buff. He may consider diving, but Yellow Pete's got a fair amount of damage and some good lifesteal, so you can see he's sustained up well enough to avoid that dive. So a little bit of a miscommunication. I feel like Yellow Pete went more aggressive earlier than he really needed to, but they end up trading 1-for-1 at the end of the day.
Meanwhile, in that top lane, it looks like Wicked has been bullied out of the top lane by Alex Ich, and he just continues to pressure on down the top mid lane pairing of going back as well of Genja and Edward, and the bottom turret is now being pressured, and Diamond, well, he can't hang on to this one. Instead, he does get hooked, he gets lashed down, the slow comes in, Yellow Pete tries to get in there, but it's Crepo, and it seems to be a magnet for the Thresh Lord, because he steals another kill. It's 2-0-1 for Crepo.
Well played. He gets that red buff back again. He already has that Sightstone available, and he's picking up a couple of CS as well, actually. Interesting, Yellow Pete backed off a tiny bit sooner. So I'd like to see how Crepo decides to itemize in this particular match. Having those kills and having a little bit more gold to work with, he may go for, you know, slightly more offensive items, because you can see Snoopy's got that Aegis of the Legion already.
Yeah, Blade of the Rune King already built up by Yellow Pete as well. Bloodthirster picked up by Genja. Tends to be a standard item on Misfortune. It's a champion that has actually had banned away from him a number of times lately. He's very much comfortable on that one. Meanwhile, you can see Wicked, he's got that Bilgewater Cutlass is the word I'm after, contemplating on it. Meanwhile, what is Alex Ich going towards?
So Alex has already picked up his Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. It's a very selfish spell vamp item. It's the best way to describe it. It is obviously designed for junglers. It'll increase damage to monsters, but it's got great spell vamp. It's got great mana regen, ability power, and cooldown reduction. So we'll see if it's going to help them challenge for objectives, because this is what I was going to say. The amount of damage that it can deal to minions is great, and you can see Alex and Diamond are putting some pressure now on the map. We'll see how this plays out, because it's very, very cheeky. They're trying to two-man it.
Yeah, they will be able to two-man it as well, and you can see the rest of Gambit pushing in there. Of course, Evil Geniuses did pick up the dragon, but they are not aware of this situation right now, and they're pushing on towards it. Genja comes in there, the pings go down, suddenly they're realizing something is up here. There's a lot of people missing, and this is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, an 18-minute Baron.
So Baron is probably his shortest lifespan in the history of LCS right now. Around about 3 minutes after spawning, he gets taken down in a very, very cheeky play. This is one of those things I love to see, because Gambit have obviously talked about this. They've theory crafted and said, hey, can we do this? If we get Eve with the hate spikes, with the damage I can put down, if we get a Nunu with his true damage from consume and etc., can it work? And the answer is yes, it can.
Yes, it can indeed. So Gambit pulling out a number of tricks in this game to see who's looking, see who's watching around the world to say, yeah, we can do this as well.
all I can hear in my head is that voice of, caution, winter is coming. But instead it's saying, in duo queue, Nunu and Eves are coming, beware. But it's a great play from Gambit. They've evened out that deficit that they had in terms of gold. Alex is literally just throwing out Ice Blast after Ice Blast, but you have to give props to Wicked. He's staying alive. He hasn't given up more kills. He's learned from his 1v1 earlier, and he's called for some backup. Froggen and Wicked looking to take on Alex.
Well, they're going to try and get in there. It's going to be very hard to pin him down. Instead, looks like they're just going to trade positions. And now Froggen, he's going to try and hold off that top lane. While it looks like Wicked, he's going to go see if he can get some kills in that mid.
So we'll see how he can pan that out. He has very good burst potential now. A champion like Misfortune or Sona can actually go down very quickly. If he jumps into Diamond Procs before his ultimate goes down, that can obviously work in his favor as Alex takes the stun and quite a lot of tower damage. But just wait till you see how quickly he'll heal up once he eats the consume. There you go. So good.
And Froggen used pretty much all of the mana in that one burst, and he just gets the consume, keeps going, and he's at full hit points again.
Yeah, it's going to be impossible to move him out the lane. And you can see Gambit have made no attempt for towers. I believe they're not pushing towers at all. They want to farm. They want to CS. They want to get to a point where they say, now we're happy to fight. Right now, Diamond Procs is saying, I'm happy to go engage. Absolute Zero's channel.
Absolute Zero coming out. Froggen flashes away from him, but in comes Diamond Procs. They do try and get the stun and a couple of tower hits on towards Alex. He's going to chase back in. There's the Ice Blast. They managed to get the egg. It's Diamond Procs that's tanking out the turret this time. Are they going to get Froggen down in time? Yes, they are. But here comes Snoopy. Can he get the flash? Yes, he can. Gets the stun on towards Alex. Alex is trying to consume. Gets a little bit more hit points. Can he run away from this one? No! The flame from Crepo holds him down. And Snoopy picks up the kill, but that was so close. And now the turrets are going down in the mid lane.
The rest of Gambit just carried on the pressure. They pulled up 3 members of Evil Geniuses. They pick up the mid turret. Then they pick up the inner turret as well. And they carry on. A great play from Crepo. Secured that kill onto Alex because he was about to get away. But look at this. Gambit are collapsing onto Snoopy and Crepo. This is going to be a 3 versus 2. Can the Geniuses get away?
Crepo, I think, he's going to admit defeat. Realizes he's going to go down. Throws down the box. Can he flash away from this one? No. He just gives himself up and gallantly takes a death for the team. And Evil Geniuses, well, they are 6-3 up. They are still ahead in gold. But do not write Gambit out just yet.
Now, unfortunately, the Geniuses weren't quite smart enough to avoid losing Crepo in the top lane. But well played by Gambit. They managed to roam around, roll around, and use all of that mobility and movement speed to their advantage. You see how quickly they close the difference from the mid lane to the top lane, thanks to all of the passives and the abilities they have in their trunk. And up at the top lane, you see a little bit more pressure on the top lane. So now all of us on the tower. Now you see Gambit saying, we want to push some towers down.
Well, we see Wicked and Yellow Pete, they will be able to push on towards this middle turret. And Diamond and Edward not going to be able to hold them off here, but they do. They don't choose to go for it. They haven't got a great deal of vision across the map, mainly. And they do just put that ward down in the middle. The rest of Evil Geniuses do start stacking up in the middle. And we see the ping ward coming out there from Alex Ich. And he's happy to return to the bottom lane and continue farming.
Talking about those wards, look at the vision for Gambit. They've got some pretty deep jungle wards in the sides of Evil Geniuses. So they're fairly knowledgeable of what is going on, where the movement is, and what's happening. What I did actually just see there... Oh, we'll take a look at this in the mid.
Oh, the bullet time goes in there. Diamond's going to get absolutely popped. The death mark should be enough to finish him off. The barrier's going to run out. No, he's got away. The Ignite's not going to quite catch him down there. And he's managed to escape with the skin of his teeth at 60 hit points.
That was the ultimate there from Eve. Agony's Embrace giving 225 hit point shield, managing to keep him alive through that death mark. So well played. And that's, just the power of that ultimate, but it is no longer available. If they want to pick a fight, it's not there to be used.
Meanwhile, you can see the number of items being completed now, and well, for Diamond, I think that Morellonomicon was pretty much what saved him in that, when you see the ultimate popping off, that sheer fact that he had the ability to power the acceleration, getting shock blast up the backside of Frog, and that bird taking a little bit of a jolt more than he was expecting. Dragon is going to be up in 40-second time, so let's see how the teams start laying out for this.
That Morellonomicon is such a great pickup. It's going to counter the passive of Snoopy. When somebody's below 40% HP, it reduces their healing. And of course, you look at that lifesteal that's coming out of both Wicked and out of Yellow Pete. So if they get their burst combo down, some shock blast, follow it up with an ice blast, and then the absolute zero, their healing is going to be significantly less impactful as they're trying to secure kills. And the amount of AoE that Eve puts down, her hate spikes will hit multiple champions and be able to apply that debuff to everybody. Right now, Gambit, thinking about the tower, thanks to the vision that they have, realize that EG are collapsing on them and decide to back away.
They back away from this one, but it is giving a lot of free farm time for Darian and Diamond Procs. Diamond Procs clearing that top wave down. down. And now the Dragon is going to get started off by Evil Geniuses. They realize that Gambit not anywhere near this one. They know that Diamond Prox is a long way away. Alex Izzo just runs straight in, tries to do a drive-by massacre on towards Yellow Pete. Didn't quite happen. The Ice Blast came in there, and he just trots on by with the Blood Boil.
He's buying time for Diamond Prox to join the party because this is a 4 versus 5 until Diamond is there. He managed to move back down towards that bottom lane, consume a minion, and heal back up all the damage that he took. He also managed to burn out... no, it was his Ignite that I actually used. So we'll see what happens now as the two teams have stacked up. And it's going to be a full-on 5v5, and the damage from Alex, I think, will be key. If his Absolute Zero gets a good channel, EG are going to be shredded.
The hook comes on towards Alex. It's not the one they really want to go to, but they do manage to put the flay down on him. Crescendo comes back. We see a dancing bear in the middle, but the Russians are not impressed, and they do manage to pop him down. Wicked goes back in towards it. He gets dropped down. Genja picks up the double kill. Now Crepo going down. They're going to continue chasing. The shock pass comes out. Diamond Prox, the hate spike's not quite gaining the traction that they wanted, and now we see Edward off of the side. Oh, he's going to be tanking the Dragon. The Dragon's going to finish him off. The Ignite will gauge him down. It's Froggen that picks up the kill. Back and forth. Acceleration shock pass on towards Snoopy. Not going to land. And it was a 2-for-2 trade. But the Dragon, more importantly, will go to Gambit.
2 for 2. They're going to secure that one. At the moment, Dragon showing its allegiance and helping out the Evil Geniuses to pick up that second kill. Overall, though, without Absolute Zero, Gambit won the team fight. They were able to force out members of Evil Geniuses, and Alex did not channel his ultimate at all. The slow was not there. The damage was not there, and that is very, very important to keep note of for the next time these two teams bash heads.
So the Baron about to spawn. We'll see whether they try and pull any tricks off this time, and whether it'll work out, more importantly for them. Evil Geniuses will, of course, be prepared for this one. As it stands, though, there's not any wards by either team all the way up and down the river, so they have to get those back out. You see a number of wards being bought by both teams. Let's have a look across the items, though. Let's compare straight away, effectively, Darian, the mid laner, against Froggen.
All right, so interestingly with Froggen, Absolute Zero used to farm there from Alex, Froggen's decided to go for Boots of Swiftness. So he's gone for that additional movement speed to try and survive all of the mobility that his opponents have. If he can avoid taking damage and can kite them just on his own movement speed, that's obviously going to help him out significantly. In terms of our pseudo mid laner Darian, you see the BF sword, as well as the Brutalizer, as well as that Mirror Man. He's had that for a while, so we'll see what he decides to upgrade that next longsword into. I would imagine some form of lifesteal, maybe the likes of a Bloodthirster. Our top laners, Wicked's very far behind. He's only got that blade completed.
Interesting position in here. Evil Genius has kind of half-heartedly thought about going straight up the mid. They know that Alex Itch is in the top, and that's exactly what they're going to do for. And you can see Chain of Corruption landing on towards Darian. He gets sniped out, but Misfortune does manage to catch them all out quickly. Crescendo goes across as well, and now with a hook on towards Diamond Prox. He gets leashed. Can he flash away from this one? His barrier will be doing just enough to survive. Alex Itch is running down the side here, but he's not going to get close enough, and it was a 1-for-1 trade. Wicked for Darian.
Now Alex is thinking about jumping into this party. Absolute Zero has just become available. He may even consider going for Baron. There's some pings there from Evil Geniuses there. Fairly aware of this one. You can see the pings, and they're trying to reposition for it. Wisely, Alex decides to back away.
This time he doesn't get the solo Dragon, Baron, sorry, which he kind of thought about. He's like, well, I could probably do it, actually. He's still contemplating it. He's like, no, should I go for this? No, I think I'm going to have to let it slide. And the Evil Genius is back off to buy.
So it was good play by Evil Genius to jump in there and pick up that kill, but a great ultimate from Diamond Prox. He managed to catch, I think, 4 of them with that Evil to got a massive, massive shield, slowed them all down, and allowed that bullet time to shred through them. But Darian, he wasn't quite expecting to be jumped on that quickly, and it obviously resulted in that 1-for-1. At the moment, Gambit still hold that 2,000 gold lead.
Well, the main thing for Gambit, more importantly, is the fact that Genja, he's been landing that ultimate perfectly the last 2 big team fights.
He's got a chain vest as well, so in terms of the Genja build, Bloodthirster, Lost Whisper, Guardian Angel, he's getting very close to that. Then I'd like to see where he goes next. With Misfortunes, I like seeing him pick up those double Bloodthirsters because, like we said, he relies on bullet time for his damage, and all of the stacks from that bonus attack damage will benefit that sort of playstyle more than any other items. We'll see if he feels the same. At the moment, though, Gambit, they're clearing out the wards in and around the Baron pit. Alex is about to find Crepo. We may see our next big team fight.
We'll see whether they go for this one. Of course, the shock blast landing on Frog, and he won't be too happy with that one. Crepo wants to get that ward in the middle, but he's got to be very cautious. Instead, the hook lands on towards Edward. He is going to go down here. Didn't have Crescendo available, and really wasn't going to be able to do anything about that one.
No, none at all. The 5 members of Evil Geniuses are stacked up in this mid lane now. Looks like they want to push for towers, but there's a little bit of split decisioning. Both Crepo and Yellow Pete were moving towards Baron. The rest of the team are moving in the mid lane. Now they got the numbers advantage. They picked another battle.
The big angry bear goes in towards Alex Inch. Deathmark went down from Wicked, but it's going to be Snoopy. Oh, he gets away from the Lantern. Very nicely played. And Bullet Time didn't quite catch enough damage. Yellow Pete continuing to keep them back there. Does put that hail of arrows down, but it's just keeping them at bay.
So well played there from Gambit to at least survive and get away from that one. They almost picked up the kill, but that Lantern, the Dark Passage from Thresh, saving Snoopy's life. You can see how big of an impact that Morella Nomican plays in the team fights, though, because Snoopy's healing, his regeneration from the passive, is practically non-existent once he's been affected.
So, how are things stacking out between these two teams? Let's have a little moment of clarity, because there's 1,000 gold between the teams. It's just one turret that equates to. Gambit, of course, picking up that Baron very early on, and Alex is seeing if he can do it again. There is a ward that he stood on top of, so it's not exactly a sneaky tactic like he's hoping. And this time, now that Edward is back up, he's going to see if he can clear out any of those wards. And Gambit, they're having to use that acceleration gate to get the hell away. It's actually Froggen that's been starting out the fights, and they realize Alex is just not near it. They're going to push mid.
So we'll see how the positioning comes in. Diamond Prox is about to get his ultimate up and available. He's had a few good ones so far, but he's also shown that he's happy to throw it just on a single target. He's rolled around to come in from the back, and the last time I seen an Eve come in from the side was Fnatic versus SK many weeks ago, and it was that exact sort of engagement that cost SK the game. Look at the positioning from Diamond. They're thinking about this engagement. Flash Crescendo is available for Edward. He was even sniffing around the side. Of course, Genja wasn't there, so they're not going to do that until they have Genja's bullet time as well.
They're going to see if they can sneak around, steal the blue. Unfortunately, it is not there for Evil Geniuses. That bottom wave could do with being a little bit of push, and that's where Snoopy is going to head off, and Evil Geniuses do back away. So, let's have a look. AD carry to AD carry. Blade of the Rune King and Infinity Edge, along with the Berserker Greaves for Yellow Pete. But as you mentioned, that Genja build, it is the Bloodthirster, the Guardian Angel, and the Last Whisper. Very much his own build.
Yeah, it's something that he just keeps doing. He's comfortable with it. It has a lot to do with the fact he likes to survive in team fights. We'll look at that in a second as Alex has been caught out.
They do manage to put the wall down. Hail of Arrows comes in there, and he tries to get away from this one. Bullet Time Crescendo comes out as well. He's going to pop the absolute zero, but he gets taken down. It's Crepo that picks up the kill, and now they're going to be in hot pursuit. Wicked comes across the side there, tries to get another bit of poke on. The hook lands this time on towards Darian. Crepo goes launching in there. Now they're flipping in Diamond. Diamond manages to run away from this, and look at the speed of Diamond as he gets away from that one. Tries to chase him down. This shock blast on towards Snoopy. The wall used in full defensive formation. It was another 1-for-1 trade. Alex Itch going down this time, though.
Diamond Prox was so incredibly quick in that particular engagement. He managed to get the initial Dark Frenzy. After they got the kill, he used that W again, and that's where that immense speed came from. Remember, he's running in heals as well, so it's even more impressive. What we did see from Alex, he started to channel Absolute Zero, but unfortunately, it didn't offer quite as much damage as we were expecting because he's not prioritizing ability power. He's not the damage source for his team. He's relying on Darian, Diamond Prox, and Genja to clean up the fight. If the Crescendo had been available towards the end of the fight, they may have been able to do so, but it was burned early, and they couldn't get more than one kill.
There's a potential video in the cards. We're seeing whether Diamond Prox can wear Shox' heels and just see how quick he can run down the street. But I don't think it's going to happen. Nevertheless, as it stands right now, Darian is going to try and pick up the blue buff. Snoopy's going to try and sneak around as the entire team. Edward might get caught out here. The flip comes in. Edward hasn't got Crescendo available. He's going to get dropped very quickly, and he's just taken out there, wanting to put some wards down.
So great play by Evil Geniuses to move in for the invade. They realize it's one for, and Diamond's out of position.
Diamond's absolutely caught, and he's going to try and get away. Chain of Corruption, though, lands on towards Genja, and that will be fatal for Gambit if he gets taken down, because he does have the Guardian Angel, but he's going to pop up straight into the rest of the team, and that gets picked up by Yellow Pete.
It's a fairly sloppy play here from Gambit. They're being caught out left, right, and center, and Evil Geniuses are simply capitalizing on this. But they're in the right position to do so. They're landing the abilities they need to as well, and they're not hesitating. EG, find somebody and throw everything they have at that person, and it's securing them kills. And with this Dragon, they'll take the gold lead for the first time in a good 15 minutes.
And let's not forget how important this game is for Evil Geniuses. Of course, Fnatic, they'll be delighted to see Gambit take a defeat here, but it's Evil Geniuses that have been pursued heavily by the Copenhagen Wolves, and they need to pick up wins. It's all important. They can't chase down SK Gaming. That is impossible right now. but they can lose their 4th place to Copenhagen Wolves. Of course, it doesn't matter because effectively they will be placing each other, but pride is a big thing for this team right now.
Yeah, exactly. Positioning in that particular setup, and when you consider that the Evil Geniuses have lost more games than they have won this split, that's a big knock for a team that was arguably the first or second best team for the entirety of 2012 from Europe. So, you know, they're trying to get back to form. They are playing well in this matchup, but they're dealing with a very unconventional team composition. And I also see another pair of Boots of Swiftness there on Volibear. So to counteract that, you know, less effectiveness on that Rolling Thunder, he's picked up Boots that allow him to run a little quicker.
That Frozen Heart is going to be just annoying for Alexic now that he's got that. It's going to be even more tanky, but it's been Froggen vital with those walls on Anivia. So many times we see it, and so many times it successfully works out for Froggen. Normally, when he's given it, he questions whether he's allowed to take it now, because he's thinking, are they baiting me into this Anivia pick? They were, of course, when it was against Fnatic, but this time it seems to be working well for them.
Yeah, this time it definitely seems like it's working out. I feel like the man of the moment for Evil Geniuses is Yellow Pete, because he's staying alive in fights, he's landing his ultimates, he's picking the right engagements. I feel like the man of the moment for Evil Geniuses is Yellow Pete, because he's staying alive in fights, he's landing his ultimates, he's picking the right engagements, and we see another pair of Boots of Swiftness coming out. Somebody speak to Nike, because these guys are wanting the fast boots, and it's just to deal with the mobility. That's literally all it is. They cannot keep up with the speed of Gambit, and they're trying to counteract that. I would like to see somebody picking up Australia's Reverie. That would really give them that initiation or that counter-initiation power and allow them to either get in or obviously get out.
Crepo, he's clearing out this security net, throws out the lantern just to get vision and just poke out a little bit more. Alexic looks
opposed to the green one, so that will actually probably put them a little bit behind. Right now, though, Gambit were positioning themselves for a fight. I feel like they're just waiting for the Guardian Angel to come back up for Genja before they actually pick that engagement. And once that cooldown is available, then look for them to either go for Baron, a turret, or maybe even just for a team fight.
They're not making the mistake of running for that top lane, although saying that, Diamond's going up there right now. Normally it was Alexic. Every time he went up there, and he's going to get spotted by that Tri-Bush ward, they do usually push in Evil Geniuses, but this time they're not going to capitalize on it, and it's been a very much a standoff in that mid lane. 35 minutes into this game, very even still, just 600 gold between the two teams right now, 3-2 in turrets, so a very low scoring game really effectively for a 35-minute mark, but it's 13-7 in kills, and that's really because as we predict it, or as you predicted, I should say, Gambit were playing for the late game here.
Yeah, they extended that laning phase on purpose. They did not overextend. They didn't push for more objectives than they needed to. What we do see now is Evil Geniuses have been the ones making the plays for the last 10 minutes, but Snoopy is nowhere to be seen. The bear is in the bottom lane. Gambit are aware of this, and look at them running in. They want to pick a fight because they know Snoopy is not there to help them. This is 5 versus 4.
We see Diamond rushing in. He thought about it, but immediately, look at that. That Froggen, that ultimate, it just slows everything down. Instead, now they're going to try and turn it towards Baron. Evil Geniuses, they're going to try and capitalize. They're coming in from the side. Darian is just off the side. He's going to be the early warning siren. It's going to be signaling. Crepo winds it back up. There's the chain of corruption landing on towards Diamond. The hook comes in, and Diamond gets taken down. There's another dancing bear in front of the Russians, and this time he just trots away. And now Edward, he's in trouble. Yellow Pete chasing him down. He can go for any target he chooses. Instead, they just back away, and it's only a 1-0.
Yellow Pete's chain of corruption single-handedly won that fight. He prevented Diamond Prox getting in. The rest of Evil Geniuses focused him down, picked up the kill, and there was no more initiation power from Gambit. The man that they need to set up those plays is that Agony's Embrace from Eve, the ultimate to get in there, and then follow that up with Crescendo and Bullet Time. Because the ultimate didn't even get used, Diamond was killed before he could do anything. their power of picking a fight was completely removed out of that play. So well played there by Evil Geniuses to not only prevent Baron, but pick up a kill.
And this time, though, it's going to be Evil Geniuses going in. Alexich is nearby. The ward is about to get placed around the corner. Alexich may well get a bit of a surprise as soon as he comes around the corner. The wall, the hook, he is absolutely done for. And he's dead.
I think he actually failed a flash there as well. It looked like he hit straight into the crystallized wall. Again, Gambit find themselves a man down. We can see Sona and Genji around. Bullet time's not available for a steal. Snoopy is going to be able to pick that up with both Smite and Frenzy. And all of a sudden, the stronger team is Evil Geniuses.
Big advantage for Evil Geniuses. They're going to push in towards this top lane. And now they have a gold lead building rather sizably. Diamondprox down his bottom lane. He's going to clear it out and make sure that inner turret is safe, but the top turret will go down, and Evil Geniuses are going to go back and buy. No, they're not. They're going to keep pushing on towards this inner turret. They realize that Darian actually shows himself in that mid lane, and they think, wow, we could just keep going into the base.
They've got the numbers advantage right now. Misfortune does have bullet time available if she wants to use it, but instead is going to wisely back away. Wait for both Darian and Diamondprox to try get into position to try help out. And we'll see if another fight does break out relatively soon, but Evil Genius is going to be happy with that. That's a misclick. The box was used, and that was a misclick. That is a very, very big mistake from Crepo. I don't know if anyone from Gambit are aware of that, but that is a 2-minute cooldown that just got wasted.
They won't have seen it, unfortunately, so Evil Geniuses will be safe for now, and the fact that they do have that Oracle, that Baron on, sorry, for another 3 minutes should make them okay. Gambit, meanwhile, they're going to come down and try and take away this dragon. Actually, this may be the first dragon in the game I think Gambit may well have picked up here, and that's going to keep them within a 4,000 gold reach of Evil Geniuses. So, as we do move into the 40-minute mark, there is a lot up for grabs between either team. One big team fight would almost certainly mean at least an inhibitor, maybe the game.
Yeah, it depends on how severe the team either wins or loses that team fight as to how many objectives will go down. You're 100% right. Both teams have been pushed back practically to the inhibitor turrets in at least one lane. Will mean that it's going to go down very, very quickly. Evil Genius is trying to sniff out this dragon. Just going to realize that it has been taken, but they don't have the timer on that just yet. So that does play into Gambit's favor for the next dragon if they want to set up for it. Two very big pickouts for members of Evil Geniuses are those Warmogs, of course, and give them a lot of HP to deal with. And Gambit have had difficulty getting more than one kill. To be fair, so have Evil Geniuses in these team fights. And we'll see if that's going to help out as EG now siege this bottom lane.
The problem for me with Gambit, other than the fact that they've caught a few number of members out here, like Alexich getting hooked again, they're going to dive in towards him, they flip him out. This time, though, the bullet time comes across, absolutely zero goes off. He doesn't manage to survive, but it's a 1-for-1. It's Crepo that went down, and Diamondprox continues to go in. Now we see Wicked going back in towards Diamond, doesn't quite get him down. Yellow Pete taken very, very low, in the heal from Edward, just about keeping the sustain on Diamond, and now the Shock Blast keep him away, but Froggen with that blue buff just at the side, the Baron on him, he can keep on pushing this.
It's a 1-for-1 trade, but at the end of the day, Evil Geniuses will be able to pick up the tower, so advantage EG. They secure the 5th tower of the game, extend the gold lead to 5k, and decide, are we going to go back? No, they're going in, and here comes Froggen.
They managed to get the hit on towards Genji. Of course, he does have that Guardian Angel, so he should be able to survive this one, but they're going to push on towards the inhibitor turret. They might well be able to take it down. Diamond's really the only man standing off the side there, along with Darian. They didn't have anything to repel them.
Evil Geniuses are feeling very invigorated after this last battle. They continue pushing, and you can see that sort of, do we go, do we not go? Look at Diamondprox's Gambit. If EG decide to stack up, they can force an engage on that.
And what gets me with Gambit's build is what I was trying to get to, is the fact that yes, they picked up Nunu in the top lane, which is great, but they don't really have a key engage, because Diamond's going to be off the side, Alex is going to be off the side, both of them want to come into the fight late. There's nobody going in forward.
They were hoping to rely a lot more on that siege potential of both Jace, for example, the Shock Blast, and just trying to sustain, get the poke, and then just dive in with having Jace and Eve coming in from the sides, throwing themselves into it. And it's exactly like you said, the reason we haven't seen a very big 5v5 team fight in a massive engagement is because neither of the teams are super, as Alex gets caught again.
Chain of Corruption gets on towards him, but this time he does manage to get away from it. Yellow Pete is being absolutely crucial in landing those. Now he's got a Guardian Angel. He's 7-0-6 right now, Yellow Pete. He's been landing those Chains of Corruption so well in this game, and they're pushing on towards the inner turret.
So we'll see how well they're stacked up. That's 4 members. Their minions have just arrived, so the defenses of the turret will be dropped. And look at Diamondprox's position to the side. He wants to come in and get that Agony's Embrace down, but
støtter Bilka og Føtex ugens mange gode tilbud, så du kan få fingrene i dem allerede om torsdagen. Og
Jace buff. Froggen had just went back to buy, and he's got himself now a Hex Drinker.
So, yep, Hex Drinker, it's a great pickup. It's obviously just going to give him all that survivability from the magic damage that, either Nunu or Eve are going to be putting down. We see once again the standoff in and around the Baron pit. Now, right now, EG have better positioning to encroach and surround Gambit. It looks like the fight is on, and who's it going to start with?
They're out of position, and this time Diamond starts it out. Crescendo does lump back, strikes again.
Absolute Zero was interrupted almost immediately. That's a 2 kills for Zero right now in favor of Evil Geniuses. There's not enough damage to follow it up and drop down either Yellow Pete or Froggen, and he managed to use that Seraph's Embrace shield to get to safety. Even more impressive, Wicked didn't even use Death Mark in that particular engagement. His ultimate is still available. So well played, Evil Geniuses. Their team fighting power is just much more superior to that of Gambit right now.
Well, we see Evil Geniuses, they're going to go in towards the Baron, try and start that off. They have the Aura. Through there, the flash comes out, and Froggen just obliterates Darian in a straight 1v1.
Completely pops him, landing ability after ability. Now, all of a sudden, with a 1-minute death timer. At 50 minutes in the game, you cannot afford to be caught out like that, because right now, Evil Geniuses have a 1-minute time of 5 versus 4. Remember, the bottom lane tower is down, so if they get this, they'll get 2 inhibitors off this exchange.
Well, the fun times for Gambit may well backfire on them here, because Evil Geniuses are pushing through the middle lane. Now they're going in towards the bottom inhibitor. That's going to be 2 inhibitors down, and there's not a great deal that Gambit can do about this one. Again, the walls, the stuns, they're all coming out from Froggen. He's trying to control everyone he can on Gambit, and it looks like Evil Geniuses, they may continue pushing on this one.
20 seconds left before Darian is able to respawn. It is 4 versus 5, and they do have a lot of area of effect damage, so if they get the good engage, they might be able to pick up kills. Bullet time is available, but it's up to Gambit right now or lose this game.
The hook lands on towards Alex Hitch, and now he's forced away. Crescendo comes out from Edward, but Chain of Corruption's fired brilliantly from Yellow. They're on towards the second one. He tries to be a drive-by. Froggen gets egged at the back there, but his rebirth will be enough. They're going to try and get in towards it. You see another blast. Alex Hitch gets hooked in. He's going to get lashed. He gets taken down. And now you see the hook once again from Crepo. The box comes down. Darian's Guardian Angel will get popped. The final Nexus turret will finally drop. And Evil Geniuses will take down Gambit, even if things up